it's Caitlin, back today with a video showing you how to make a figure 8 harness. I find that these work best for my ferrets and my bearded dragons, but I've also seen people use them on their rabbits and their rats. So I'm going to show you two different ways of how to make, this is paracord. There's a simple way with just like a slip knot, and then there's a more advanced way if you want to get fancy and use one of these, which is like a little, I think they call them cord clips, just so that you have more control over how tight the knot is and things like that. So first, what you're going to want to do is buy some paracord. I have a couple different types of paracord. Right now I'm going to be using this blue one just because I have it cut already. And there's a couple different things you want to keep in mind when making this harness. First is how long you want it to be. So if you want it to just be the harness, or if you want it to be Rosa dog. If you want it to be just the harness, or if you want it to be the harness and the leash. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to make the harness, and then I'm going to attach a leash because I have a bunch that are just laying around. But this harness is mainly just for security, and it's exactly what it says it is. It's a figure 8, so it's going to fit around them that way. So for the easy way, you're going to take the paracord and you're going to tie a knot. So that it looks like that. Hold on, let me get my camera to focus. So I tied a knot around this piece of the paracord. So this is nice and tight, but you can still slide it. So I do have to say, one of the downsides of this method is that it's a little bit harder to make it smaller once you make it bigger, just because that knot doesn't really want to move, which is good for when you have your animal in there. But that is where the second method comes in, using one of these, where it's a little bit easier. So I'm going to go get a ferret and show you how he looks in this one with just the, with just the slip knot, and how we go from there. Alright, so I have Salami here. He's going to be helping me out. He's got some salmon oil right now to keep him busy. Well, first, so you get it around his belly, like this. Give him a little bit of salmon oil. Then what I do is, reaching under here, I take this little part, hi bud, and I turn it so it looks like a figure 8, and I slip it over his head so that there's a piece there's a piece going around his neck, and then it goes, can you flip over? Under his belly like that, so you kind of get the figure 8 effect. Good boy. And then you can flip him back over. And like I said earlier, one of the tough parts about this one is that once you make it bigger, it's kind of hard to make it smaller. So what you can do is just retie that knot where you want it, and then you can adjust it from there if you need to. I didn't tie it as tight this time. Salami is just giving up. He doesn't really understand the harness. As you can see, it goes around his head so that it goes around his head so that he can't slip out. And if I need to, I can tighten it while it's on him. And if you want to, for security, just while it's on him, you can tie another little knot. You can adjust the knot to where you want it, so I have it kind of on his side right now. But I don't normally use this method just because I do have the clips, and I find that the clips give me a better sense of security with the ferret, just because they are so fast and mischievous. Yeah. So now I'm going to get, I have a pre-made one that has the clip on it, and I'll show you what that looks like. And essentially the only difference here is that I just took the paracord and I threaded it through this, well actually my husband did because I couldn't figure it out, but he threaded it through this little hole so that you can tighten it. It's not focusing because Salami's there, but yeah, I'll go get that one and show you guys. So for this harness, I did get a little bit fancier. It's still one piece of paracord like the other one, but I did throw in a braid at the end. Oops. Using one hand because I got Salami in the other. I threw in a little paracord braid at the end, and then I threw this like key ring on it, because this key ring can attach to the leash, as you'll see in a second. And then or my husband, I guess, we folded the paracord in half and then threaded it through the little cord clip. And this just works like the knot does, where it helps make it tighter or looser. So I'll show you how I put this one on Salami. He's in my other hand, that's why I'm only filming with one hand right now. So, hi bud. So, like the other one, what I do first is I slip it around his belly. And then I take this end and I put it around his head. Salami. So that it goes like this across his back. And then I take the cord clip. Thanks, bud. And I tighten it that way, so I push it in and I push it down. And that works just like the knot. Like I said, the knot is a little bit easier if you don't have cord clips, or if you just need if you just need something in an emergency to work. Come here. I have some salmon oil that I'm bribing him with. Thank you. Oh, this is a family-friendly page, Salami. So as you can see, it kind of does a crisscross on his belly, the figure 8 again. It's a little bit loose just because we're not going out, so I don't need it to be super tight on him or anything. You don't like it? Yeah, he wants to be free. But this is good. Oh, it did catch a little bit of his hair there. So that's something to watch out for when you're using these clips, is if you're using it on a hairier animal, you don't want it to get stuck in their fur. So try to make it tight while he's still with you, and try to just move as much of their hair out of the way as possible. Put your finger there if you need to, so that it doesn't catch any of his hair. And then what you could do is take a leash and attach it to the key ring, and then your harness is there. You don't have to throw a braid in. You could just use this as your leash, or you could just tie it to the end of this key ring and then attach it to a leash. I'll show you what it looks like with a leash. She is with the harness on, nice and tight so she can't get out of it. Takes them maybe a second to learn how it works. I know. She's not a fan of leashes. Good example, let's see how it works. Nice and firm, she's not going anywhere. Even if she thrashes about, she can't get out of it. And this isn't hurting her, by the way, so don't come for me. She's just angry. If we were out and about, she would have to be on a leash, but since she's home, obviously she doesn't need to be in a harness or anything. Normally she has free roam of this room, so I think that's why she's a little confused. So here she is in the harness. She's not very happy about it. We did have her wear a harness when she was little, and then we didn't keep working with her, so I think if you start them out little and get them to wear a harness, that bearded dragons will be more... I think that your bearded dragon would be more comfortable on a leash if you start them out young. Whereas ours, she's been on it once or twice and still really isn't sure of it, because when we do take her out, she either sits on our shoulder, or we're holding her, or I have a little cage for her to bask in. Mozzarella. So She doesn't understand why she's in this leash, but it works the same way. So it goes under her arms, around her back, just like that. She is going to get some treats and some crickets when she's out of this, just for positive reinforcement, so that she knows that it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And if I were to take her out in public, I would definitely try to keep her on a leash or a harness, just because I don't trust other people, and I wouldn't want her to hurt herself trying to jump off me or anything. So this harness, it's not as tight on her as it is the ferrets, just because they don't, you know, they're not as rambunctious as the ferrets. So it doesn't need to be super tight, but I would just do it for her safety, just so that I know that she wouldn't go anywhere. So I have here some of the other harnesses that I use for my smaller animals. This is a ferret collar that I bought from Petco, and the problem with, the problem that I have with the collars is that, one, they're really only good for when they're indoors, and you just kind of want to keep an eye on them and know where they're at. But even then, it's not great, because this can get stuck on something and trap the ferret there, since ferrets are known to be a little mischievous and get into places they can't be. So I rarely use the collar unless I really have to, or if the ferrets are out and I just need to know where they are, like if I'm doing something around the house. So I don't really use that one a lot. The other harness that I have is this one. It kind of has the same idea as the figure 8 harness that I made with a paracord, but this one cost, I want to say, anywhere from like $10 to $12, and one roll of paracord cost me $4, and then a pack of 20 of these cost me like $2. So definitely a lot cheaper, and you can have it in a bunch of different colors. This one, I kind of have the same problem with it that I do the leash, or the collar. It's hard to make it small enough to actually fit around the ferret. If you have a ferret, you know that their body is deceiving. Their neck is really skinny, and so can their bodies. The circumference of their bodies can be really skinny as well. So it's hard to find one that actually gets small enough. And the other problem I have with this is the buckles on it. On this one that I had, that's kind of similar to that one. This one got retired quickly. I bought this one for, I want to say, like $10 or $12, and Mozzarella got left alone with it while I was wrangling his sister, and he decided to chew the clip off of this one. So now I just have this piece of Velcro, which I don't find to be strong enough to hold the ferret in, because it's just a piece of Velcro and it can come undone really quickly. And that's my fear with this one, is that if he gets left alone in it, or if I need to tend to one of his sisters, or if he's out on the leash and doesn't like it, that he'll start to chew at it. With the paracord one, it's a little harder for them to get at it because it is so tight and close to their body, and you just have more control over it than this one, where, you know, if they were able to get a foot out of this one, they could slip out, since I can't make it any tighter than when it goes. And this is the same. I can't use this on the bearded dragons because they're spiky, and it just doesn't work, and trying to put little clips on when you have a bearded dragon is very difficult. And same for rats. I've seen people try to use this, and it just doesn't go well trying to buckle little clips near their head. Same with this one. I think the idea is good in theory, where you have this Velcro and you have the clip, but like you can see down here, Mozzarella easily got through the clip, and now all that's left is the Velcro, which, if they wiggle enough, if they pull hard enough against the leash, it could come undone and they could get out of it. So that's why I like this one a lot more. I mean, it is homemade, it is a lot cheaper than going and buying one, and you can have a bunch of different colors, and you can do these cool little braids with it on the end. And I just think it's a lot easier. So there you have it. I will have instructions up on my blog on how to make this if you're more of a step-by-step reading the instructions person. I wouldn't recommend this for dogs or anything. Like I said, unless it's an emergency and you really need something. It's Aiden. But unless you really need something to hold you over, or if, you know, you have to leave in an emergency situation and you just need something, I would invest in a dog harness or a dog collar if you need to. Oh, look at her. Hey. Just because I don't think it's as sturdy, and it's not very comfortable for the dog. Not very comfortable for the dog, so I wouldn't use it on walks for them. Like I said, I would invest in a harness, like a dog harness for them. This is good for ferrets though, because normally they're not out on walks very long. Same with bearded dragons, like you saw with Peanut Butter. I didn't have it on her super tight, so it wasn't that uncomfortable for her. Getting it on was a little bit uncomfortable, but you know, she's just grumpy as it is. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.